Player One Dad.
If I ran World of Warcraft, I would try to return to Warcraft's soul. And I think those are two things. Number one, the story. The story is Warcraft's soul. I think that's very important. And unfortunately, I think Blizzard kind of made a mistake with World of Warcraft by not continuing that legacy of a story to the casual player. And I'll get to that later in this video. But to the average player, for example, you never got to kill Arthas, right? Because you weren't a hardcore raider. So let's talk about that later. In this video, it's really a thought experiment from a casual gamer dad's perspective and somebody that's been following WoW drama for the last 20 years. Because I like it. It's fun. And I like learning about things that aren't, politics. God. For the past few years, I've been, I've watched Bellier videos. I've watched Asmongold videos. I've just been following some of the drama, some of the changes of World of Warcraft pretty much since its inception because I've been obsessed with this franchise. I grew up playing Warcraft 1 and 2. I grew up playing StarCraft. I grew up playing, or seeing my family members play Diablo. I wasn't allowed to play that one, but it was fun to watch my aunt and uncles play Diablo and then transition into World of Warcraft. And that was fun for me. I enjoyed that. So I fell in love with this world for a long time and wanted to keep up with it for years, just because it's my flavor of autism. Okay, whatever you want to say. That's just what I like to do. So from that perspective, looking at things, this is my idea of what World of Warcraft could look like. Let's begin. World of Warcraft used to be about uniting every kind of player. The hardcore raiders, the casual tailors, the PvP grinders, and even the lost newbies. Their mistake was chasing short-term profits instead of long-term community. I don't have a problem with people making money. I don't have a problem even corporations making money. Get your bag. You know what I'm saying? My problem is when you sacrifice the community in order to make short-term games. I don't like that. It makes you feel sleazy. It's why people don't like you. It's why people don't like Blizzard. They kind of look at Blizzard and they think Arasaka. That's kind of what people think now. Especially with all the, the PR stuff that they've been raked through the coals with. And for good reason. Meanwhile, on private servers, devs are out there making miracles happen with a box of scraps. Okay? You get my point? There are private servers who do a better job at seeing what Blizzard could have done than Blizzard itself. Take example, Project Ascension, Project Epoch, and Turtle WoW. Perfect examples. They understood what players loved about World of Warcraft, and then they just kept weaving it into the art. We got to start with Vanilla WoW, because this is really the heart of World of Warcraft. Without Vanilla, none of this would have happened, and many other MMOs that were inspired by it would also not exist. So we've got to start out with that. And my opinion, classic World of Warcraft should be free to play. And optimized for Xbox. There, I said it. I said it, all you PC nerds out there. I love you. I respect you. I'm one of you. But I got to say, at the end of the day, I think it's important that we make this as available as possible to people. I think it's funny when people always constantly talk about how they want to optimize the game for a broader audience. What better way to do that, instead of culturally trying to do that, just make it free to play? What is more accessible than free to play. It's the most accessible. Hello? They're always talking about, oh, let's make it more accessible. Let's make it more accessible. Make it fucking free. It's like, I'm not sorry. That is the clear choice in my head. Make the classic World of Warcraft free. Now you're competing with Turtle WoW. Turtle WoW dies in a day. Okay? I love Turtle WoW, but I feel, okay, they won't die. But you see what I'm saying? Like, they're going to be far less popular if the game was just free to play. And if it was optimized for Xbox, now we've got Xbox players playing together. And by the way, we're gamers here. Okay? I don't mean to be elitist for one platform or another. I'm just happy you're a gamer. And I want you a part of World of Warcraft because it's part of the reason why you've not tried it. Is because it hasn't been on console. Make it for console. You want to really, really hone in on the brand of Microsoft? Making an Xbox for every platform? Do the opposite. Make World of Warcraft on every platform. So that's first thing. And make it free to play. And here's what's great, is that it's going to step new players into Azeroth the same way they did back in 04. Wide-eyed and unshackled. That's how I see it. That's how every person should start World of Warcraft, in my opinion. It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you just want endgame. That's fine. That's why you have retail. We'll get to that in a minute. Also, I would basically just grab the Turtle WoW devs and hijack them. And I'd say, just build the exact same thing you did on that platform and build it over here and you'll get paid for it. I think this is obviously an idealistic approach, but I think that this would build so much faith in the community that I think the money would show up a lot. People want to support devs that love the game. Wow, what a shocker. And you bring in these devs who have been working tirelessly as volunteers to help build the path forward for Classic Plus. That's a win. So here's my model. Here would be the model. Wouldn't want Blizzard to make no money off of this, okay? I would just consider Classic World of Warcraft to be the lost leader. And if you don't know what that is, here's the description. Okay, so the model would be free vanilla, pay for plus. So classic WoW's free, or vanilla WoW is free. You play for the plus. So you have to have a subscription, your $15 a month normal subscription, if you want to play all the additional content. But still, everybody in the same world, or maybe a couple of servers. But and most importantly, there would be no cash shops. None. Just like they do in Classic Era. Let's keep it clean, folks. None of that cash shop stuff. Again, I consider Classic WoW a lost leader. Then I think of Classic Plus as like an upsell, right? But none of this is to make like hardcore profits. It's just to build good faith with the community and bring some of those people that wouldn't have normally been entered into the Blizzard economy into it. It's that simple. See, I'm reasonable. I don't just think about the community. I also think about the money. I mean, you got to, I think. All right. Now let's talk about classic World of Warcraft. Not just vanilla, but TBC and Wrath of the Lich King. The holy trinity of World of Warcraft. Okay? I would take this holy trinity and I would make individual servers for each one of them. Each one gets one server, right? And so you can play the vanilla version. You can play the TBC version, or you can play the Wrath of the Lich King version. But here's where it gets good. You can characters can be cloned forward or stay forever. So what that means, for example, your warrior could theoretically farm Stranglethorn forever, and meanwhile, its clone can go into TBC and tackle Outlands. How does that sound? It creates a multiverse of WoW timelines chosen by you. Doesn't that sound fun? So this makes it so that way you don't feel like all your work in vanilla doesn't transfer over to TBC. But luckily it usually does. There's a lot that can. But maybe you just want to stay in Classic era forever. Or maybe you want to even do Plus, Classic Plus or Vanilla Plus, right? So then I would make it so that you could clone and go to TBC and then stay in the Outlands forever. Or you can go to Northrend, right, and make a clone of it instead of totally losing your progress. Doesn't that sound fun? I don't know. Just a thought. All right. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about retail, okay? Because here's where things get dicey. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple with retail, okay? I'm not going to go into what I think the storyline should be. My overall picture of what I would imagine retail should be, right? Because I don't think it should go away. Quite the opposite. I think remastering WoW and making it even better, or reimagining WoW and making it even better, even creating a WoW 2 would probably be a good idea, which is probably happening, by the way. So I'm not going to talk about WoW 2. I'm just going to talk about like what I would, the principles I would follow to build a storyline, okay? So let me preface it with that. So retail becomes, first of all, let's talk logistics. Retail becomes totally free until max level. I'd basically borrow the Final Fantasy XIV model. You make it free to play, have a free to play experience, a really good one, all the way until max level, until you're fully ready to commit to endgame. And that would make it so that way, because in contrast, today, you play until level 20 still. Are you kidding me? The free trial. Yeah, that's right. If you even knew about the free trial for World of Warcraft, yeah, it does exist. It's just you get to play the basically you play the tutorial. And that's free. Boring, bad, not going to work. It's not helping you bring in new players. I thought retail was about keep getting new players, right? Making WoW popular again, right? That would be one of my goals. And then let Classic WoW be there for the players that want to either A, experience it again, or B, experience it for the first time and have it be like a novelty thing. Kind of like what OSRS is now. Like there's plenty of new players playing RuneScape again. But retail is supposed to be, to grab the new players, right? Right? The modern players, the modern audience. Like people have tens of thousands of hours in this video game on average, okay? How the fuck are people supposed to get involved with this game if they can only experience the first 20 minutes? The first hour, okay. The tutorial, like if you go to the island and thing, it's like, I think it's technically 2 hours, I think. But it's like, really? That's not even, that's like that's like just being able to do in Classic WoW, it's just being able to do the Abbey quests. Just inside the Abbey. You don't get to go to Goldshire. Nope, that's when it stops. How the fuck are you supposed to learn the game and know which class you like if you can only experience the first 2 to 3 hours of the video game? That doesn't make any sense. If I ran retail World of Warcraft, I would also make it where it would be dungeon and loot focused. Okay? This is the heart of everything. This is at the heart of everything. Okay? This is why people play World of Warcraft. This is why people transmog, right? So they can get that sweet, sweet loot so they can look cool, right? That's the game, right? We know this, okay, or for at least it's a big part of the game, right? So I would bring back that Diablo II style loot excitement, right? right? Every drop feels like a story, not just a level bump. Okay. No one tells epic stories about their 385 bracers, but everyone remembers their first fiery war axe, right? Or their staff of Westfall, right? Those are our iconic things that people remember. Let's bring that back, right? All right, let's talk about Timewalking now, because I think Blizzard is almost doing what they should be doing, but they're not quite scratching that itch that we all have, right? Where we can just go back in time and experience any expansion pretty much as it was, right? Not quite that way, but like Timewalking is supposed to be like the light version of that. That's how I see it. But also should be story campaign focused. Okay? So what I would do is I would first cut the bloat. Okay, there's a lot of bullshit that happens in the story of World of Warcraft. Cut out all the bullshit that doesn't make sense to anybody. And instead of you being like the main character, you're really just kind of like an observer, right? Kind of like you and the Ghost of Christmas Past experiencing the World of Warcraft story, right? You still get to play all the dungeons. You still get to do, all the cool stuff. It's just kind of done from a outside looking in perspective, right? So I would make this, and I wouldn't exactly know what it looked like, but I just, in my head, you would still experience some of these amazing things, but it would be a solo or play with your friends campaign. So it'd be like a solo/co-op campaign. How cool would that be? I don't know how many people come into my live and go, I want to hear about the story of Warcraft. I feel like it's so cool, but I never get to experience it. How do I experience all of World of Warcraft? And I usually have terrible answers to give them. I'm like, I have no idea. I guess do Timewalking? I guess. But it doesn't. I've done the Timewalking. Okay, it's not that cool. It's really not that cool. So I would make it cool. Okay. So here's what I would think. I'd give you all of retail's greatest arcs: ICC, Karazhan, Black Temple, and you get to it would either be solo or it would be play it with your friends. Maybe the rest are like NPC bots. I don't care how you do it. I just want people to experience the storyline as it is. And here's what I know Blizzard would never do, but something that I think would be truly amazing. Hire as many of the old voice actors as possible and bring them back. All the ones from way back from Warcraft back in 1995. Okay, the first one, and then Warcraft II, Warcraft III, and World of Warcraft. Like, bring all of those voice actors back and fill in lines in the gaps in the storyline that don't make a whole lot of sense, and fill those gaps with those voice actors. I know, big feat, but that's how much I care about the World of Warcraft story. I think it matters, and I think they lost that when they went to classic World of Warcraft. Not that I think that it was bad. It's an MMO. I get it. It doesn't have to be story focused. But I always think back to my experience playing Final Fantasy XIV and thinking, God damn it, wouldn't it have been cool to actually play the story of the continuation of Warcraft III through this solo campaign? Like, God, it like hurts my brain. Like, why wouldn't they have done something like this? Maybe not at the beginning, but why couldn't they have done this before? It doesn't make sense to me. But also, you would reuse old assets, right? But let players revive the sagas without begging for groups for a raid. Can we just let people enjoy the story? Because it's that good, guys. I think it's that good. But we all kind of lost track of the story after Warcraft 3. And it was sad because it was a good story. And I get that they had to make World of Warcraft the way that they did, but they forgot the whole thing, man. They forgot the story, which I think matters. And it's clear that it matters because I think that's why a lot of people dropped off at Wrath of the Lich King. Isn't it kind of obvious? Like, oh, Arthas is dead, and yeah, maybe I'll go kill Blackwing, but I don't know. I just wanted to. I don't know. I think that's sad. WoW's roots came from the giants before it. Things like Asteroids, a pure gameplay loop. Zelda, Ocarina of Time, a hero's destiny. Skyrim, the freedom of choice that they've seemed to have lost along the way. The shit matters. Diablo II, the loot-driven perfection. These are these were the building blocks of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft isn't just a game. It's a shared myth, a living legend, an adventure for newbies, and a glory for hardcore players. If Blizzard honored the community instead of milking it, the fire could burn again. If I ran Blizzard, the classic era wouldn't just be nostalgia. It would be a rebirth of a legend, a legendary game. A world where raiders, tailors, casuals, and hardcore grinders could all belong in a single world. That's not just good business, it's good Warcraft. But I have just one more idea. One idea that I think could make Azeroth eternal. A WoW Forge. The classic era version of Warcraft III map editor. But that, my friend, is for another video for another time. If you guys happen to like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed it. Leave a comment on your thoughts of what you think would make Azeroth great and really save World of Warcraft. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments.